You're watching Luntha TV and it's time for our 7:30 news bulletin. Today with me, Tandi Wimzumara. First, the headlines. Pope Leo XIV urges promotion of human relationships to curb gambling. Incessant rains leave over 7,200 households affected, 3 dead across 13 councils. Economic expert describes 2025 as a challenging year for Malawians. And in other news, Ivory Coast's ruling party increases its majority in weekend vote. We have the details to these stories and more. To stay with us. Pope Leo XIV urges promotion of Pope Leo XIV said on Monday that towns and cities across Italy are facing major challenges, including a demographic crisis, pressures on families and young people, social isolation among the elderly, persistent poverty, environmental pollution, and rising social conflicts. The Pope was speaking during a meeting with mayors from the National Association of Italian Local Authorities in the Vatican, saying that tackling these problems requires first of all listening to the voices of the weak and the poor. He stressed that otherwise democracy atrophies, becomes just a name and a formality. We have more details in this Vatican News report read by Patrick Popper.
Pope Leo said he wanted to draw attention in particular to the scourge of gambling, which has ruined many families. The Pope stressed that statistics show a major increase in Italy in recent years, highlighting a recent Caritas report which described gambling as a serious problem for education, mental health, and society trust in the country. Describing the issue as a form of loneliness, Pope Leo called on public authorities to combat it by promoting authentically human relationships between citizens. Citing Don Primo Mozzarari, a 20th century Italian Catholic priest, a social activist, the Pope stressed that Italy does not only need houses, roads, aqueducts, and pavements, but also a way of feeling, of living, a way of looking at one another, and a way of coming together as brothers and sisters. In his address, Pope Leo also reflected on the feast of the Holy Innocents, celebrated the day on which the Church remembers the young children by King Herod in an attempt to kill the infant Jesus. This massacre, the Pope said, is a manifestation of an inhuman power, one which does not know the beauty of love because it ignores the dignity of human life. He said Jesus' birth, on the other hand, reveals the most authentic aspect of all power, which is above all responsibility and service.
The Department of Disaster Management Affairs, DODMA, has disclosed that the persistent rains experienced across several parts of the country between December 22nd and 28th, 2025, have affected over 7,200 households and claimed 3 lives in 13 councils. In an interview with Luntha TV, DODMA spokesperson Chipiriro Kamura said the persistent rains caused widespread damage in the affected councils, with verified reports indicating that more than 32,000 people have been impacted, with 41 others injured due to collapsing walls. Gift Karonga has more details in this report.
Speaking with Luntha TV, DODMA spokesperson Chipiriro Kamura said that most parts of the country had experienced heavy rains from 22nd to 28th December, which resulted in damages in 13 councils including Blantyre District, Chikwawa, Chitipa, Dedza, Dowa, Karonga, Lilongwe City, Lilongwe District, Mulanje, Nkatabe, Nkhotakota, Msanje, and Salima. He said the persistent rains have affected over 7,200 households across 13 councils, leaving 3 people dead and 41 injured, while relief assistance and rescue operations are underway. Kamula further stated that Dodma is currently providing relief assistance to affected communities, including food and non-food items such as maize, beans, blankets, pails, and iron sheets for temporary roofing. He emphasized that the provision of aid is ongoing and that the department is committed to reaching out to all affected people as per the verified reports from the respective councils.
Currently, as Dodma, we are reaching out to the affected with food and non-food items, and these include maize, beans, blankets, pails, and plastic sheets for temporary roofing. Provision of relief assistance is ongoing, and the department will reach out to all the affected people as per the verified reports from the affected councils. Let me also point out that local search and rescue operations are being conducted in Isanja and Kodagota districts. We have also made standby arrangements for the deployment of a national search and rescue team.
Meanwhile, Dodma has teamed up with the Malawi Defense Force (MDF) to form a national search and rescue team, which also includes the Malawi Red Cross Society and the Malawi Police Service. For Luntha News, this is Gift Kalonga.
The Roads Authority says persistent heavy rainfall has caused washaways on sections of the M1 and M5 roads, temporarily disrupting traffic in some areas. In a statement, the authority's CEO, Engineer Anil Champiti, said affected points on the M1 including Basadzi Bridge between Mpoma and Dijatoroma, while the M5 has damaged Luangwa, Kaombe, Lingona and Nchandilo bridges, as well as near Bout Trading Center along the Nkota Kasungu Road. Contractors have been mobilized to restore connectivity, and motorists are advised to exercise extreme caution and avoid flooded or damaged sections. The authority has also confirmed that the Nkamenya in Kasungu district is now passable after earlier disruption. Here is part of what Engineer Champiti had to say.
At M1, we have two places which have challenges: Kamenya Bridge and the Basadzi Bridge. For Nkamenya Bridge, the situation is under control. Vehicles are passing. The affected part of the bridge has been put under control. The protection works are being done, and motorists are able to cross, motorists of all types and sizes. At Basadzi Bridge, we have a challenge. It's a very big opening. However, we have located some diversions from Chatoloma. If you take a right at Chatoloma, you would end up at Mpoma back into the M1. Likewise, if you take a left, you would also end up at the same place, Poma, and then proceed back to Lilongwe using either Kasia Road or the same M1. An update concerning the diversions is that the diversions are only for motor vehicles that are small. But meanwhile, remedial works, grading and improvement of surface is being done by the same contractor, Motor Angel. We will be able to update if we have located a path where big vehicles can traverse through. M5, we have several places that are cut off. We have Duangwa Bridge, has got a big scour on one end. The bridge is isolated from the pavement. Then we have Kaombe Bridge. We have Lingona Bridge. We have Nchandilo Bridge. And also we have somewhere at Boat Trading Center. The Boat Trading Center is actually a Nkota Kasungu Road section. Then Kufi Road, there's a affected place there as well. Regarding the M5, Dongwa Bridge, we would have to wait for the water to go down a bit. We will quickly come in with remedial works to reconnect that place. Kombe Bridge and Lingona Bridge and also Chandilo Bridge, all these places are flowing very high with water. And so as soon as we establish the extent of damage, we will be able to devise a technical solution for these places.
Engineer Emil Chambiti, CEO, Roads Authority. Economic expert Happy Shira has described 2025 as a year of challenging for Malawians, citing worsening economic conditions that have negatively affected livelihoods and businesses. In an interview with Luntha television, Chirwa said the situation calls for strong government measures to revive the economy by 2026. Emmanuel Shiwocha has filed this report.
Speaking in an interview, Chirwa said citizens have endured a year marked by high inflation, reducing purchasing power, and rising cost of basic goods and services. He noted that inflation has severely affected small-scale businesses, forcing many to close due to high operating costs and low consumers' spending, adding that the situation has left many households struggling to meet daily needs. Chirwa further explained that shortage of forex exchange has disrupted imports, while persisting fuel shortages have negatively impacted transportation, production, and service delivery across the country. He emphasized that little is currently being done to meaningfully revive the economy, a situation he said has reduced hope among many Malawians who are waiting for tangible economic relief.
It has not been very good on the first 3 quarters of a year, if we count it from January to December, because in terms of issues of monetary stability policies, or what we call macroeconomic stability and the policies, we saw a time of inflation going up, and that inflation, as inflation rate was increasing, it was really not protecting the value of the money, and it was not stable. So that hence the prices went up tremendously. And again, we saw uncontrolled price arrangements when people were trying to do a number of cartels, and that affected the businesses and the purchasing power. But at the same time, we saw something that was happening positively, that is in terms of infrastructure and physical development, where we saw some roads being constructed and the completion of the Lilongwe Bridge, which was an old bridge, and worked on it and secured the life of many. And we saw a number of developments in terms of roads within the city of Lilongwe, which has changed the face of Lilongwe. We have not seen much in terms of human capital development, the capacity building for the future, in terms of the technical know-how.
Despite these challenges, Chirwa commended the newly elected government for implementing expenditure control measures in civil service. He has urged authorities to strengthen economic reforms, stabilize inflation, and address foreign exchange and fuel shortages, saying decisive decisions is crucial for ensuring a stronger and more resilient economy in 2026.
The Citizens for Justice and Equity CJE chairperson Agabe Kombe has called on Malawians to avoid fueling anger and social media outbursts over the Malawi Revenue Authority's planned award of security contracts to 3 private companies. Kombe made these remarks on Tuesday during a press briefing in Lilongwe, where he also clarified that the tender process was competitive and conducted in accordance with the Public Procurement and Disposal of Assets (PPDA) framework. Charity Chilanga has more details in this report.
Chairperson explained that Master Security Services, Camo Guard Services and Iringa Security Services were selected following an evaluation of bids submitted for a 24-month security services contract. He said the evaluation was overseen by an internal procurement committee and all interested bidders had the opportunity to seek clarification on unsuccessful applications. Kombe noted that some public criticism has been fueled by the perception that the companies have political connections, including ties to serving ministers and Democratic Progressive Party sympathizers. However, he stressed that none of the company owners are MRA staff, which would constitute a conflict of interest, and that being politically affiliated does not bar Malawians from engaging in economic activity under Section 29 of the Constitution.
We have found out that the contracts were awarded to these three companies. They are owned by Malawian nationals. They did not go there because they were coming from any political office, but because they were business people who also have expertise and experience in providing security services to various entities in the country.
Among other things, Kombe has urged the public and media to approach the matter with informed scrutiny rather than anger or jealousy. He further called on any unsuccessful bidders to report evidence of foul play within 14 days to enable legal redress. In the absence of verified claims, he recommended that MRA proceed with awarding the contracts under strict oversight to ensure quality service delivery.
Remember that you're watching news coming to you live from Bishop Navy Media Center, and today with me, Tandy and Zumara. Before we proceed, let's have another look at the headlines. Pope Leo XIV urges promotion of human relationships to curb gambling. Incessant rains leave over 7,200 households affected, 3 dead across 13 councils. Economic expert describes 2025 as a challenging year for Malawians. And now in news, Ivory Coast's ruling party increases its majority in weekend vote. Proceeding with the news, the Economic Freedom Movement EFM has applauded President Professor Arthur Peter Mutharika. The Economic Freedom Movement EFM has applauded Professor Arthur Peter Mutharika's administration for what it describes as visible and meaningful change achieved within a short period of time, saying the reforms are restoring hope among Malawians. Speaking at a press conference in Lilongwe, EFM President Joseph Pesci commended government for abolishing school fees in both primary and secondary schools, describing the policy shift as a major step towards widening access to education and easing the financial burden on parents. Phyllis Chizombe has filed this report.
In his remarks, Page said the movement is encouraged by what it considers a positive start by the current administration, noting that several areas of national concern are already showing signs of improvement. He cited stabilization of the kwacha, improved fuel availability, and indications of economic recovery as markers of renewed election in government. Page further called on former President Dr. Lazarus Chakwera to come forward and name individuals he previously alleged were sabotaging government operations and involved in corruption practices. He said by reviewing the names of the perpetrators, the former president would help law enforcement agencies ensure that all suspects, including those linked to institutions such as the National Oil Company of Malawi, are investigated and prosecuted. He then called on government not to practice selective justice, stressing that anyone found in conflict with the law should be arrested regardless of political affiliations, status, or position in society.
Officers are involved in corrupt activities, but we only saw few individuals who were brought to book. So we wanted him to come out and review the names of those who are involved in corruption, so that they can also face justice. And also recently, President Chakwera, before he stepped down, he announced to the nation that there are individuals at NOCMA that are contributing to the scarcity of fuel. They are making challenges at NOCMA. He should name them, and that those people, they should also face justice.
Has since pressed to continue engaging government on governance and economic issues, while urging authorities to maintain the current reform.
Agricultural expert Felix Jumbe has applauded Malawian business mogul Napoleon Zombe for establishing a fertilizer manufacturing plant in Dowa district, which is expected to commission in April 2026. Jumbe has described the development as a key intervention in the agricultural sector, saying it will create an enabling environment and strengthen agricultural activities in the country. Charity Chilanga has filed this report.
Speaking in an interview, agriculture expert Felix Jumbe commended the project, describing it as a timely intervention for Malawi's farming community. Jumbe said the establishment of the fertilizer plant will help boost agricultural productivity by ensuring fertilizer is readily available and locally accessible to farmers. He noted that improved access to fertilizer is critical for food production and the stabilization of agricultural commodity prices. Jumbe further emphasized the need for government involvement, saying support from authorities will be crucial to the success and sustainability of the project.
We should praise the project. It will help Malawi to have fertilizer, because the main problem we have is availability of fertilizer. After the cropping of different crops that use the minerals in the soil, and we are not replacing them. So we need fertilizer, we need nitrogen. And let me make this clear. Like growing of maize, Malawi is at 2 tons per hectare harvest. And otherwise, in other countries, the average is about 6 tons, 7 tons per hectare. The main difference is the use of nitrogen. Malawi uses a decimal percentage of nitrogen in the soil to grow the maize because of fertilizer problem. So this is something that we can praise. It will do a lot to increase the use of fertilizer in Malawi, which is at 13 kilo per hectare, below the world standard.
The development comes at a time when Malawi continues to prioritize agriculture as the backbone of economic activities, with stakeholders calling for increased investment in local production of farm imports. According to Zombe, the fertilizer plant located in Dowa district is expected to begin operations in April 2026. A move believed will ease resource pressure on farmers. The plant, to be known as Dombe's fertilizer plant, is projected to produce between 30 and 40 metric tons of fertilizer per day, a development expected to improve accessibility in local markets and reduce reliance on imports.
Now, in international news, the Ivory Coast ruling party has increased its majority in parliament in elections held at the weekend, while the main opposition party, led by former Credit Suisse CEO Tijani Thiam, lost half of its seats, provisional results have shown. The strong showing for the rally of Hufutis for Democracy and Peace, or RHDP, should make it easier for President Alassane Ouattara to implement his agenda that includes lowering private investment to French-speaking West Africa's largest economy, the world's biggest cocoa grower. We have more details in this Reuters report read by Patrick Popper.
Ouattara, an 83-year-old former deputy managing director of the International Monetary Fund, who secured a fourth term in October, has also said he would use his mandate to prepare the way for a new generation of political leaders. The RHDP took 197 of 255 seats in the National Assembly in Saturday's election, according to provisional results announced on Monday by the Electoral Commission, up from 163. Thiam's Democratic Party of Ivory Coast, or PDCI, won 32 seats, down from 65, while independent candidates won 23 seats. Voter turnout was 35.04%, down from 37.88% during the last elections in 2021. Ouattara first came to power in 2011 after a 4-month war. He was elected with more than 89% of the vote in the presidential contest on October 25, in which Thiam and former President Laurent Gbagbo were barred from running. Gbagbo's party boycotted this year's legislative election, saying they would not be credible.
And that's about what we had time for in this edition of our news bulletin. But before we go, here's a reminder of the headlines. Pope Leo XIV urges promotion of human relationships to curb gambling. Incessant rains leave over 7,200 households affected, 3 dead across 13 councils. Economic expert describes 2025 as a challenging year for Malawians. And in our news, Ivory Coast's ruling party increases its majority in weekend vote. My name is Tandi Wemzumara. Thank you for keeping me company, and to continue following the rest of our programs right here on Luntha TV. Goodbye for now, and do stay safe.